Hello again, whiskey friends. I'm Durell. Thanks for joining another review. This one's going to be a this one's going to be a good one. This is a company and a just a brand that I haven't even heard of up until maybe a month and a half ago, and I'm glad I got put on. What we're going to be talking about today and going through is K.Luke Batch 4. It's a barrel proof combination of a couple different mash bills. I believe the highest rye content through the mash bills is 36%. Says they're sourcing from Kentucky and Indiana. We'll dive in, give this thing a taste. I'm already excited. Kind of put a little bit of a dent in it already, so you can kind of tell maybe from there if I like it or not, right? But stay tuned, guys. This one's going to be a banger. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe, hit that like. Let's kick the show off. Cheers. Thanks again, guys, for sticking with me. I'm really excited about this bottle. I've seen a couple reviews on it, and just everybody's opinion on it's pretty much been the same. Everybody's honestly loved this batch in particular. I do have samples of the first three, I believe, and I got so many samples in this place that I misplaced them. So I'll probably end up doing a blind and maybe posting a video on the four batches, have this one included to see if this actually reigns champ. If it doesn't, then that's insane, because from what I remember, this bottle was pretty special. So what we'll do is, let me just read the back for you guys. Let's see. So it says this blend is a combination of mash bills containing up to 36% rye from Kentucky and Indiana, creating a balanced blend and layered bourbon, bottled, non-chilled, filtered at barrel strength, so you can taste all the flavor just as they did. Batch 4, 117.7 proof, distilled in Kentucky and Indiana. Let's pop this open, pour a bit, and let's dive in. You can see pretty good color. You know, coming off something that's straight from the barrel, typically you're going to have a decent amount of color. I'm not sure what the age is on this. They don't really speak actually age anywhere on here, you know, but, you know, it's at least a couple years old, being that it's bourbon. So let's see. On the nose, guys. Yeah, there's so much familiarity between the notes that you pull on here. And you would get that, or I would assume because of the Indiana and Kentucky. But you know, with Kentucky being so vast, there's so many different distilleries. But one comes to mind for me just from nosing this today and the last few times that I've tried it. And obviously, they're not going to say, but to me, this comes across as a blend of Four Roses products. Like, this nose is like one of their single barrel strengths. Like, it's slightly floral, but not floral to the extent that you're gonna immediately think Four Roses. But I've had a decent amount of their product, and this just reminds me so much of it. Not overpowering on the spice. Like I said, slight floral, some vanilla in there. Spice does shine, but doesn't overtake that lovely vanilla and that oak. Like, this comes across as a much older product, you know, and I keep kind of saying maybe that Four Roses barrel strength and nose, I don't know if I've seen them under maybe 9 years. I think that might have been the youngest I've seen. You know, I'm not saying this is a 9-year product, but it's nosing well above the age. Oh, man. But yes, nice, sweet oak. That vanilla is shining. A little bit of spice in there. But yeah, it's so oaky, but not. I love oak, and you know, and it might turn some people off of some whiskeys if they get too much oak, but this just comes across as like a 10 to 12-year-old product. It's just that nice sweet oak, though. It's not overbearing by any means. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna give it a taste. Front of the palate, you get hit with all that spice, and you could tell that it does have that higher rye content. It is spicy, but it's not proofy. That 117 is actually pretty perfect. So it does create like a nice heat sensation within the mouth. But that high rye actually makes it seem like it drinks a slightly higher proof. So if this was just a barrel strength at 125, 130 with that same high rye mash bill, it would probably be drinking a lot hotter than what it is now. But this comes across nice. It tastes like it's a 125 proof whiskey, and it's almost 10 proof points lower than that. But that first sip was nice. All that spice sat on the tongue. Front of the palate was a lot more spicier than mid in the finish, but that finish is still sitting there for me right now. Yeah, all those flavors are just concentrated on the tongue. Get a lot of that cinnamon, so much of that oak, that vanilla, just literally just grabbing me by the mouth. And this is, look how oily it is. Like you guys can probably see, it's dripping from literally the top of the glass and just riding down. This thing is nuts. I would say for me, that profile leans more towards the Four Roses versus the Indiana that's in it. I don't pick up too much MGP. Normally, like I get like this nice graham cracker vanilla crust note on most MGPs, and I don't find that in this one. This, without it, still tastes pretty pretty fantastic. But it does come across Four Rosy with a mixture, maybe that Indiana is what's kind of throwing it off that profile slightly. But there's definitely some remnants of Four Roses for me in this whiskey. Yeah, just the nose gives it away for me. Let's go for another sip. Yeah, that finish at 117 proof, that finish is pretty nuts. Like it just goes on and on and on. Like after you take the first sip, it leaves your mouth watering. Like what? Just to continue to drink this whiskey. K.Luke, and they blended and knocked this out the park. I'm curious to see what they do with the next couple batches, and curious how the first three stack up to this. I do have those, like I mentioned earlier in the video. I just got to come across those or find those samples. And what I'll do is probably just create another quick little video of just blinding the four. I really want to see how this stacks up, or should I say vice versa, how they stack up to this, because this is pretty nuts. Retail price on this bottle, I believe, was I want to say it was like $99 or $89. Like it's not expensive, maybe even 100, but it was relatively cheap. Thing is distribution for them. They're not selling everywhere, which is the problem. So once this becomes kind of like mainstream and everybody's like talking about it, it's still going to be, I think, a little tough to try to acquire one. But try to make some friends in some low places or high places, and that may help out with trying to acquire one of these once they produce another batch, or if you were trying to get this batch here. But yeah, batch 4 K.Luke, I think, is an absolute buy. It's a buy and continue to buy backups if you can. Like that's how good this bottle is. And like I said, nobody was really talking about it. a couple months ago. This just came out of nowhere, and basically kind of took everybody by a storm. But killer bottle. Guys, I'm not going to keep you too long. Thank you for tuning in. I want to officially rank this within our scoring sheet, and I'll probably just update that within the comments. I'm pretty certain it's probably going to score probably in the mid 80s, which is typically a really, really good whiskey for us. Stuff in the 90s are just incredible pours, but anything within that 80 range, which I know this is definitely going to fall probably between 84 to maybe even 90, 84 to 90. It's going to be in that range for sure. So guys, if you do see this K.Luke Batch 4, do yourself a favor, pick it up. It's definitely worth the buy. I will say, try not to go too crazy in terms of if it's marked up, so I'll say like a safe bet, like 150 is probably the most maybe I would pay for this. Is it worth a bit more? Could it beat some bottles that'll probably cost more than that? It probably could. I just would not want to pay too much over retail per se, but not saying the whiskey isn't worth it, if that makes any sense. But thanks, guys. Till next time. Cheers. Hope everybody had a blessed day.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these